have peace now. I remember when I first walked into this office and offered my website freely to Jones to enable my husband get a job. I never knew that the step I took will change my life forever. It destroyed my marriage and gave me a baby from Jones. It was a terrible decision, but I'm now ready to fully embrace the consequences. Many things have been damaged, so I will move with the tide, not going back.
When Diana walked into the office and announced to her husband that he had been sacked from the establishment, he was taken aback. Started wondering what gave her the power to make such a pronouncement. However, he saw that Diana looked serious and wasn't joking. I said you have been sacked. You have to move your things out of this office immediately. Diana said again, to make sure the things she said sank well into Tekena's head. And what powers do you have to sack me? Are you the owner of this company? My friend, will you get out of my office before I call the security people to throw you out like a criminal? Who gave you the audacity to come in here and give me orders? Are you out of your mind? Leave this place before I call the police. Tekena said. His voice was very loud as he stood up from his chair and spoke to Diana face to face. When he finished ranting, you will still pack your things and leave. There is no going back in my decision to sack you. If you are done shouting, you will still do as I say. Your time is up and you are fired. Diana continued to emphasize the fact that her husband can no longer work in the establishment. What has come over you? Are you now mad or something? How can you sack someone in a company you don't own? How can you sack a staff you didn't employ? You can't sack me because I don't work under you. Please, go home and look after your baby before I have you arrested because I don't want to detain a nursing mother. Tekena said, lividly. I actually have the powers to hire and fire in this company, and I have come specifically to show you the way out. Diana fires back, refusing to keep her mouth shut. And who gave you such powers? Or is it because you got pregnant for Jones? Is it because you are the white man's baby mama? You think that gives you power to order me or other people around? I'm not one of people you can order around. Tekena said. He picked a phone beside him and placed a call to the chief security officer of the company. Within a few minutes, the security man arrived in the office. Throw this woman out of this building and make sure she never enters the company premises again. She should never be allowed into the company premises ever again. Have I made myself clear? Tekena asked. His voice was loud, showing that he was very angry. But sir, I can't do that, the security officer said. What did you just say? Tekena asked. He was surprised that the security man refused to carry out his orders. I can't. I said I can't throw out Madame Diana. I'm sorry, sir, but my hands are tied, the security man said resolutely. Why is that so? Who tied your hands? Why can't you throw her out? Why have you refused to do your job? I should warn you that refusing to carry out my orders is insubordination, and it carries heavy consequences. Be warned. Do your job and throw this woman out of this compound, Tekena said repeatedly. I can't, sir. She's the new branch managing director, and I can't throw out my own boss, the security man said. What he said made Tekena to laugh out loud. Who made her the branch managing director? Who dashed Monkey Banana? Who in his right senses would make a baby mama the branch manager of an important company like this? Tekena asked, still laughing. It's actually true, sir. Here is a document to prove that she is the new branch manager. The document came directly from London, the head office. You can take a look, sir. It was sent to my mailbox yesterday. The security man said. He handed the printed paper to Tekena after reading it carefully. Tekena looked at Diana with disdain and anger. So your baby daddy thinks you can run a company as big as this. He thinks you can manage a company. You have no formal education. You have no experience. How are you going to manage a company as big as this? You think managing a company is as easy as opening your legs for Jones? It's not that easy. You need a certain level of competence, and you don't have it. Tekena said after reading the document and understanding the content. Don't worry about the company or its management. Leave it to me. I can do it. Just watch and see. Diana said. Tekena hurriedly gathered his things, carried his bag, and left the office. After he left, Diana went and sat on his seat as the new boss.
I have peace now. I remember when I first walked into this office and offered my website freely to Jones to enable my husband get a job. I never knew that the step I took would change my life forever. It destroyed my marriage and gave me a baby from Jones. It was a terrible decision, but I'm now ready to fully embrace the consequences. Many things have been damaged, so I will move with the tide, not going back.
Diana said as she kept her baby on the large table and enjoyed her new power. When Tekena stepped out of the office and wanted to take his car, the security man ran to him with speed. Sir, you are not allowed to take the car. I have been instructed to take the keys from you. The security man said respectfully, but defiantly. Why? It's my car, Tekena said. No, sir. It's the company's car, sir. And since you're no longer the branch manager, you're not allowed to drive it anymore. You are to drop the keys and leave the company premises without any company property, the security man said. Tekena looked at him angrily and walked away from the compound. He was so angry, but there was nothing he could do. He had lost the game of power. Later in the evening, when Diana came back home, she came with the company's security men. Tekena was sitting in the living room with Ada when they arrived. You are to leave this house immediately. This house is a company property. Remember, we are not paying rent here. The company gave this house to you because of the position you held. Since you are no longer working for the company, you have to pack your things and leave the building immediately. Security, throw them out, Diana said as she walked with swag into her room. After Tekena was fired from his job by Diana, he prepared his mind for other revenge tactics to be executed by Diana. So, it was not surprising to him that when Diana returned from her office, she asked them to move out of the company's house. In fact, Tekena and his wife, Ada, had already packed their belongings into bags and were just waiting for Diana to say the word and they would move. He knew there was no way Diana would allow them stay in the building, so he was prepared. As soon as Diana left the living room and went to her bedroom that evening, Tekena beckoned on his wife and they went into their room and started bringing out their already packed bags. When the company security brought by Diana wanted to be the ones to throw out their bags, Tekena rejected the idea, insisting that there was no need for such because their bags were already packed and all was needed was to leave the building respectfully. He didn't want to give Diana the satisfaction of throwing them out as if they were owing rent. So, Tekena and his wife moved their belongings into a waiting van. Tekena had already chartered a vehicle to take them away from the company house. He was fully prepared for Diana. Soon after their things were loaded in the van, they drove out of the compound. Where are we going to right now? I told you to beg Diana so that she will allow us to stay in the house. Let us go and beg her, please. I'm ready to kneel down and plead with her to forgive us of everything we did to her. If you don't want to be the one to do the begging, I will do it. Please, we don't have a place to go. Are we not going to be stranded in the streets? How can you just move away from the company house without having a destination? Let us go back and beg Diana, and she will forgive us and allow us to stay. Please, my husband, swallow your pride and beg her. Ada tells Tekena when they are driven out of the compound. I can't beg Diana. Don't you realize she wants us to beg her? If you go back to beg her, you'll be doing exactly what she wants. She wants to have the satisfaction of being begged like the new boss. But I will never beg her. She wants to bring me to my knees and crush my ego. But she can't do that. She wants me to kneel before her and cry for help. She wants me to beg her for my job and for shelter. That's not going to ever happen. I want to show her that I'm still the man who paid her bride price, married her, and that she can't control me. Tekena said to Ada. So, where are we going now? We don't have a house, and we have even lost your job. How are you going to pay for house rent? I'm scared because I don't want us to be stranded in the streets. Remember that I'm pregnant. I don't want the baby to be stressed, Ada said. She was crying, but her tears did not move Tekena, who was determined not to go back to the company premises. Soon, the vehicle negotiated a street and entered a compound with a new house in it. This is our house, Tekena said to Ada as soon as they came down from the vehicle. The house is a two-story building, which looked very beautiful. Ada was surprised to hear what her husband said. What do you mean? Do you mean you rented an apartment in the building or the entire house belongs to us? Ada asked with surprise, written all over her face. I mean it is our house. It belongs to me. I built the house with my money and we are now going to start living in it. We are not going to pay rent here. This is my house and I'm the landlord. So let's go in, Tekena said proudly. He had already hired some boys who were waiting to help them move in. Ada was left in shock when they entered the building and she saw the interiors. It was far more beautiful than the company house they left. Her happiness knew no bounds. How were you able to accomplish this? I didn't expect this kind of surprise. I'm still shocked up to now. How were you able to build such a big house? Ada asked her husband that night when they had gone to bed. I started building the house as soon as I got that job and started earning good salary about 2 years ago. I paid for the land instrumentally within 6 months. I started building it in phases. Each month, I used part of my salary to buy building materials for the house. There was no month that I didn't spend money on the project. I kept on building until I finished it last month. It was not easy, but I was determined to do it. I wanted it to be a surprise to Diana when we were still in good terms, but she misbehaved and I didn't even inform her that I'm building a house. Now, we are the ones to enjoy the house with me, Tekena says to Ada. Hmm, you are a wise man, my husband. Imagine what would have happened if you didn't have the initiative to build your own house. It would have been so terrible for us. I'm proud of you, Ada said as they slept off. Meanwhile, Diana woke up the next morning and she was shocked that Tekena and his wife did not come to beg her the previous day. Why didn't they come to beg me? Where did they sleep? Why did they move out so fast without even saying a word to me? This is so painful. I was expecting Tekena to kneel down and beg, but it seems he planned himself very well. I'll find out how he managed to handle this so well, Diana said as she left the house to work at the company. When she got there, a lot of files were already waiting for her on the table. Good morning, madam. There are a number of documents for you to attend to. They are very urgent, the company secretary said. When Diana opened the documents, she saw a lot of financial calculations and she did not understand anything. She was confused on how to decode the information in the documents. If we don't attend to this in 2 days, our company will lose out on an important deal worth 500 million naira, the secretary tells Diana. Please leave. I need some time to think, she tells the secretary. With just one file she opened, Diana realized that she cannot do the job. The financial calculations in documents gave her immediate headaches. This is beyond my understanding. The job is beyond me. What am I going to do now? Diana asked herself in confusion.